grief is a doorway, one the living stumble through blindly, and sometimes the dead stumble back. Tonight, little sinners, we drift into the story of a woman named Eloise, and the home she fled to after death stole her beloved. But death, as you well know by now, has no sense of boundaries or mercy. Widowed and weary, Eloise left the city behind. A quiet cottage in the countryside seemed like a place to breathe, to forget. The neighbors were kind but cautious. One afternoon over tea, an old woman advised her, "You should know, dear, this is a spiritual town. Has been for generations. There are times when you'll see the dead roaming around at night, walking past, minding their own business mostly. My advice, don't interact with them much, and never ever open the door for them. Even if you hear a knock on the door, don't open it. You can leave an offering outside your door if you like. A coin, some bread, a bit of milk or some fruits. Shows respect. But keep that door locked, child. More times than not, people end up regretting opening their door to a ghost. So it's best to be cautious and not open the door at night at all. You understand?" Eloise nodded, though she didn't yet believe. She would, soon enough. Eloise didn't believe in spirits. Not until the first night she saw them. They wandered past her window, some glowing, some cloaked in shadow, and among them was him, Emmett. Her husband, dead, buried and mourned, was walking amongst the others, wandering silently with a lost look in his eyes. He did not speak, but he stopped, stared. He met her gaze, a pair of eyes that were unfamiliar yet instinctively familiar. She pressed her hand to the glass, and he mirrored her. The cottage became her sanctuary and her prison. By day, she lived as if going through the motions. She tended a small garden, baked bread, and spoke politely to neighbors who kept their distance. She did enough to take care of her basic needs, because at night, she lived, thrived. He didn't come every night. The spirits only roamed when the moon bled orange or the wind howled just right. But when he did, she was ready. A chair by the window. 2 cups of his favorite cold tea, even though he never drank his. Photographs spread across the sill, like offerings. She would talk to him through the glass, tell him about her day, read him letters she'd written but could never send. And Emmett, he would listen. His form flickered like candlelight, but his attention never wavered. Sometimes he would trace words in the frost that gathered on the outside pane. Simple things. Here, stay. I love you. Other nights, he would hum. A melody she recognized from their wedding. She would hum back, and for a moment the veil between life and death grew so thin she could almost feel his warmth again. She learned the rhythms of his new existence. He appeared most often on Wednesdays and Saturdays, always leaves by dawn and never comes during the full moon. Too many ghosts roam around during that time, including the evil and vengeful spirits. She marked her calendar with small crosses, counting the nights until she would see him again. It wasn't life, but it was more than emptiness. It was enough. But love, even after death, draws attention. The ghosts that wandered these roads were lost souls, ungrounded, their essence scattered like leaves in wind, vulnerable, and in that vulnerability there was hunger. Among the wandering dead was Marcus Thorne, a stronger soul, one who had learned the dark truth of the spirit realm. The strong can devour the weak, consume their essence to stay grounded, coherent, powerful. While others faded and drifted, Marcus fed. And when he saw Emmett, saw the love that tethered him to the living world, Marcus wanted it, wanted her. On a night when the spirits walked thick as fog, Marcus struck. He devoured Emmett whole, his memories, his love for Eloise, every tender moment, every whispered promise, every ounce of devotion, all of it flooded into Marcus. And with that power came clarity, purpose. He would have Eloise, not just her attention, but her soul. He would consume her, possess her, keep her all to himself forever. And now, wearing Emmett's stolen face, he knew exactly how to make her open that door. The next spirit night, Eloise waited by her window as always. But Emmett did not walk past, did not stop, did not trace words in the frost. Instead, something knocked. She rose, heart pounding. The wind was still. Her candle burned low, and on the other side of the door she swore she felt him. Her Emmett, close, wanting in. His voice, muffled through the wood. Eloise, please, I'm so cold out here, let me in. Just this once. Every warning she'd been given fled her mind. This was her husband. This was love. This was worth breaking the rules for. But the moment she saw him, she knew. He wore Emmett's face, yes, but it wasn't Emmett. The eyes held a strange, possessive gaze. Hungry, obsessive, and the smile was too wide, too wrong. You're not. She screamed and tried to slam the door, but Marcus was faster. He burst through, the door crashing shut behind him with the finality of a coffin lid. She ran, called for her husband, but Marcus cut her off, impossibly fast. His hand shot out and gripped her throat, lifting her off the ground. And then he began to feed. Her soul tasted as sweet as he'd imagined. He saw everything, every memory of Emmett, their first meeting, their wedding, the way Emmett had held her when she cried, the gentle mornings, the whispered promises. Fueled by jealousy and anger of their bond, he squeezed harder. Eloise's vision darkened, her strength fading, but still, with what little breath she had left, she called for him, her husband. And somewhere, in the darkness of being consumed, a fragment that wasn't fully devoured, heard her. Emmett felt her dying, felt her calling his name with the last sliver of life she had left, and every ounce of willpower that remained in that devoured fragment surged forth. His soul erupted through Marcus's stolen shell. Two souls now shared the same space, the same form, locked in battle for control. Emmett tried to loosen Marcus's grip, tried to pry those fingers from Eloise's throat. But Marcus was too strong. Fueled by stolen essence and jealous rage, he held firm. Eloise's breath grew shallow. Her eyes fluttered. She was fading fast. She had moments left, maybe seconds. And Emmett understood. There was only one way. In the realm of spirits, there is a forbidden act. A final severance. One soul can unmake another, but only at the cost of unmaking itself. Complete erasure. Not death. Not rest. But absolute nothing. No afterlife. No memory. No echo. As though they never existed at all. Emmett's willpower surged. He pulled Marcus into himself, dragging them both toward oblivion. The cottage filled with blinding light as both souls began to unravel, their very existence tearing apart thread by thread. No, not like this. Marcus fought, raged, but there was nothing he could do. The severance had begun and it would consume them both. Emmett looked at his wife through the blinding light, saw her chest rise with breath, saw life returning to her eyes. She was safe. I love you, were the last words he said to his wife. And then, nothing. The winds died. The light went away. Everything returned to normal, as if nothing had ever happened. When Eloise opened her eyes, she was alone. The thing that had worn Emmett's face was gone, but so was Emmett. Not dead, not wandering, simply absent, as though he'd never been. She tried to hold on to him, wrote his name over and over, spoke of him to neighbors, but the erasure was absolute. Within days, no one remembered a man named Emmett, not his friends, not his family. The wedding photos showed Eloise standing alone. The signatures on documents faded to blank spaces. Even her own memories began to slip, like trying to hold water in her hands. She remembered loving someone, being married, but the details, his face, his voice, his name, they dissolved like morning mist. As time went on, she forgot Emmett entirely. Their time together before his death. Their precious moments after through the window. All of it, a complete blank. But sometimes, when the winds changed, when she heard a certain song, Eloise would get a fleeting feeling, a warmth, a sense that she was remembering someone, important, beloved, lost. But the feeling would pass, and she would continue on, alone, never quite understanding why her heart felt so heavy, why she sometimes cried for no reason she could name. She lived the rest of her life this way, alone, without ever remembering who that someone was, until the day she died. Sometimes it's better to not open the door. You never know who or what is on the other side. Answer it, and you might lose more than your life. You might lose everything you ever loved, and forget you lost it at all. And so the pages burn on until the next sin finds its story.